Hello, this is Miss Pat from Samuel's Public Library. This week in Science Scouts, we're going to learn about spider webs and what kind of shapes and lines we'll find on spider webs. In the back, you'll kind of see the lava lamp that we did last week. Our story this week is called Be Nice to Spiders by Margaret Graham. So one morning, as the keeper of the zoo was about to unlock the gate, he noticed something on the steps. It was a matchbox with a note that read, "Please look after Helen. I've had her since she was a baby, but I can't keep her anymore. We have to move to an apartment that won't take pets. Thanks, Billy." What kind of an animal fits in a matchbox? The keeper opened the matchbox and out jumped Helen. "Great Scott," he said, "a spider." He tried to catch her, but Helen was too fast for him. She had 8 legs and moved like lightning. Helen ran up a big maple tree. Then she quickly spun a long silk thread and lowered herself into a big building. It was the lion house. There was a big old lion in one cage and a mother lion and her cubs in another. There were also a lot of flies. They were buzzing in the lion's ears and crawling on their noses. The lions were annoyed, but Helen was delighted. She loved to eat flies. Right away, she set to work to catch them. She began by spinning a web with her silk thread. A lot of flies, huh? First, Helen spun the outside threads. Then she dropped straight down. Then she spun lots of threads from the center to the outside. Then she spun a little spiral in the middle. Finally, she spun a big spiral. This part of the web was very sticky. When Helen had finished, she sat in the corner and waited. One by one, the flies got caught in the sticky part of the web, and one by one, Helen ate them. A week went by. Helen kept catching flies until there were no more flies in the lion house. She had caught and eaten them all. Now the big old lion snoozed peacefully all day, and the mother lion licked her cubs and purred. Helen was fat and satisfied. Next, Helen moved to the elephant house. There were lots of flies there too, and elephants don't like flies any better than lions do. In a week, Helen had caught all the flies in the elephant house. The mother elephant and her baby were happy and could once again take a bath. Then Helen moved to the zebra house. Flies were crawling all over the zebras and driving them wild. As soon as Helen had caught all the flies there, the zebras were able to eat their hay in peace. Helen went from one building to another, spinning webs and eating up all the flies. The zoo became a peaceful place. All the animals were happy. As for Helen, she was happy too. It was a spider's paradise. One morning, the keeper blew his whistle 3 times. All the men came running, and the animals looked up to see what was going on. "Boys," said the keeper, "the mayor is coming to inspect the zoo this afternoon at 4. The animals look fine, but the cages sure need cleaning up. And don't forget to get rid of all those spider webs." "But Chief," said his assistant, scratching his head, "I thought spiders were supposed to be sort of useful." "Joe," said the keeper, "those webs make the place look a mess. Okay, boys, get busy." The men started sweeping the cages. Then they hosed and scrubbed them down. When they were cleaning the camel house, one of the men saw Helen. "Quick, give me the broom," he shouted. He took a big swing at her, but Helen had disappeared. The whole zoo was clean and shining when the mayor arrived. "Excellent," he said. "I'm delighted. I've never seen the place so neat and the animals looking so well." Meanwhile, Helen was still in the camel house. hiding in a crack in the ceiling. As the days went by, she grew very hungry, but she didn't dare come out. The flies began coming back and the camels were irritable again. At last, Helen became so hungry, she couldn't stand it any longer. That night, when no one was around, she started spinning another web. From then on, Helen stayed in the camel house catching flies, but she didn't dare go anywhere else, which was lucky for the camels. They were happy again. But everywhere else in the zoo, it was a different story. It didn't take long for the flies to come back and bother all the other animals. The keeper went from cage to cage. "I can't understand it, Joe," he said. "When the mayor was here, the animals were in such good shape. Now look at them." "You're right, Chief," said Joe. "They sure look miserable." Of course, there's flies everywhere, huh? Their last stop was the camel house. "Why, the camels seem fine," said the keeper. "And there don't seem to be any flies here," said Joe. They both looked around carefully. "Look, Chief," Joe shouted. "Now I know what's going on. See that spider up there? It's eating all the flies. That's why the camels look so good. Spiders are useful. That's what I tried to tell you the other day." "Of course, Joe," said the keeper. "I should have known it all along. Let's call the men." He blew his whistle and the men came running. "Boys," he said, "Joe has made a great discovery. Spiders are good for the zoo. They keep the flies from bothering the animals. They help us do our job. From now on, there's a new rule. Be nice to spiders." Soon the zoo became famous for its happy, healthy animals. Helen was treated like a queen. One day, Helen's picture appeared on the front page of the paper. The headline read, "Local Zoo named Best of the Year. 3 cheers for Spider," says keeper. That evening, a man showed a little boy who had left Helen at the zoo. "Hey, Billy, look at this." "It's my spider," Billy shouted. "That's Helen." "Well, well," said his father, "instead of the zoo taking care of Helen, Helen seems to be taking care of the zoo." The next morning, Billy ran to the zoo. "I'm Billy," he said to the keeper. "I'm the one who brought you that spider. Hey, look, she made an egg sac. I bet there'll be plenty of baby spiders soon." And Billy was right. A few days later, out of the egg sac came lots of little spiders. And from then on, Helen and her children and all the animals in the zoo lived happily ever after. Okay, so spiders are very good for the environment, very good for us. We don't really like the bugs either, do we? So let's find out though a little bit more about their webs and what that would have to do with STEM. Okay, so STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the math aspects of the web. Geometry is a kind of math that deals with shapes and figures. Right, it tells us how to build or draw the shapes, how to measure them, how to compare them, right? Do they have angles or not? And I'm sure all of you guys know some of these. Okay, triangles and circles, hexagon, oval, right? Some of these don't have any points on them or corners. Some of them have 4, some of them have 3, some of them have 8. Okay, so we're going to talk about what kind of shapes might you see in a spider web. But there's a reason you guys are going to learn geometry as you get older, okay? We use it in a lot of different kinds of work, from building houses and bridges to planning space travel. Now you can see the different shapes in this picture. And even though all 6 of these things are bridges, they're all different shapes, aren't they? So we kind of have a little arch going here, little round thing here. This one looks like it's all triangles. This one kind of is partially triangles with a straight line. These ones are definitely 2 triangles. This one's a diamond shape. Okay, so there's all different shapes. Now, symmetry might be something you learn in art class, okay? Maybe you learn it in math as well. right? It's when your shape is folded, when a paper is folded in half, and I'm sure you guys do this usually probably around Valentine's Day. You draw it in half and you draw half a heart. And then you open it up, or you cut it out on that line, you open it up, you got a heart on both sides. So this side is equal to that side. That's symmetry. Okay, big word, symmetry means this side matches this side. Butterfly too, they cut it right down the middle, and the blue matches the blue, and the antenna matches the antenna, and the purple wing matches the purple. Right? They cut this clown's face right in half. There's an eye on both sides, there's a cheek on both sides, there's a half a nose on both sides, there's an ear on both sides. Now, even this one that's cut in half, and it's cut a couple of times, isn't it? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Okay, and that made 8 pieces. But there are 4 on this side, and there are 4 on this side, and they match each other. Okay, so again, that's symmetry. Now, if I took this book and I cut it in half, that's not going to be symmetry because this picture is not going to match this picture, is it? So just because I cut something in half doesn't mean it's going to match. If I took this and I cut it in half, that's not going to match because the shape is not the kind that this side won't match the other side. Okay, so that won't be symmetrical. Parallel lines, you see them everywhere. You just didn't know what they were called. Parallel means that they're the same distance apart and they never intersect. And intersect means that they meet at some point or they cross. Okay, and you see them when you're looking at the wires up on the top that the birds are all sitting on. Those are parallel. Hopefully none of them are falling down because then they'd be intersecting and it means somebody has no power. Look on the street as you guys are driving along on your bike or in a car. You're going to see parallel lines. Okay, they're not going to cross. These are parallel lines. They're next to each other. Now this, the roads cross. And because the roads are crossing each other, that's intersect. That means you came to an intersection. Usually there's a stop sign or a street light or something at the intersection. That's where you got to be careful about crossing because people could be coming from all the different directions. Now, looking at this, we got a couple of both. We have parallel and intersection on this picture. Okay, parallel, we got all these lines, books going across, right? All these shells, they're parallel. They are parallel. And then they're intersecting with the end of a bookcase. And that's where that T line comes in, okay? That's an intersection. So first we got the parallel shelves, right? Because we don't want any of the shelves to go like this and the books will all fall down. They got to all be evenly spaced so that they don't fall. Now, spider webs can come in different shapes too. Different shapes, different designs, right? And these are just a couple of them, right? And we can look at them and see what kind of shapes do we see on here. I can kind of see some triangles on here. Now, if I cut this in half, one side's going to match the other. Look at this weird one. Now, I haven't seen this one except on the computer. But this is a strange one, isn't it? Now, this one is kind of like what Helen did. You do the outside lines, you do the inside lines. I can see a circle in this thing. Lots of circles, right? This one almost looks like a triangle. Right? And then we have some intersecting lines. This one kind of looks like cotton pulled apart. This one pulls really apart. Now this one, look at that one that was made in between the two horns of an antelope. I don't really see the shapes and designs. I just wanted to show you that one because they can make them in all different kinds of places. Okay, but they needed something on one side and the other. Not exactly parallel, because if these things keep growing, they're going to cross. But they needed to be able to connect, going back and forth. Okay, so all different shapes and designs. So today we are going to be making a spider web. If you guys come into if you came in for our class, then you actually got to do it there. And if you come to the library, you're going to get a kit. It is going to have 3 popsicle sticks that are already glued together for you. Okay, kind of like a snowflake. You're going to have 2 different colored strings. You're going to get a orange one and a purple one. Tie one of the strings. You can tie them both together if you want. Tie them to each other, and then you can go around if you want, or cut one in half and cut the other one in half and tie them together so you can have both colors. That's up to you. Now, I tied the string here around the sticks. I double knot it. I don't want it coming off. Okay. Now, depending on where you want to start. Okay. I'm going to go around. Okay. I went around this one completely and then came back up. Okay. Now I'm going to go around this one completely and come back up. Okay. I'm going to go around this one completely and come back up. Round this one completely and come back up. Okay. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. So I get all the way back to the beginning. Okay. Now, I'll go around that one. I want to kind of space the next one out. So I'm going to kind of put my finger behind it. Now, if you want to do them all next to each other, you can. You can keep going around. I'm coming up from the back and I'm going around. Okay. You can just kind of weave them around that way. There's a whole lot of different ways you can weave it, just like those spiders did. Okay. I'm going to come up this way. I want to kind of space them out. I don't want them to be next to each other. Okay, and I'm just going around it and I'm going to the next one and I'm kind of keeping my finger there so I can kind of space it out. If you see that they're not next to each other, I can make them next to each other. If I put 2 strings together, I'll have lots of it. Now I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to kind of loop it around here and I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to knot it. Double knot it because I don't trust it not to come off there. Okay, and I kind of have my web. Now, if I want, I can make a loop so that I can hang it up somewhere. I can put it outside on a tree because these are allowed to get wet. I could put it on a thumbtack in my house on the bulletin board. Maybe I have a magnet with a hook and I can do that. Right, I can put it on there. Now I kind of have my, now what else is in your bag is going to be a spider. Okay, I don't know what color spiders, they're different colors, but they're a spider ring. Okay, you can put them on your fingers. They're spider rings. Okay, that's all they are. And you can stick it on your web. The good thing is it has that little hole up here. So you can stick it through your web so that he will stay on. And now you have a spider on your web. Okay, and you can make all different kinds of designs with this. There's no right way or wrong way, just kind of go around and around. Some people go all the way close, right? And then you can hang it up. Right, and I've got mine now hanging up on a thumbtack. Okay. So come on in, join us. Registration is online, or you can call up the library and register. We do meet in person every Tuesday on 4:30, or this week and next week, we will have the videos online. So come on in though, get the kits and enjoy. Happy Halloween.